Cancer, this is your December 2021 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is a general reading. And your message for the month is all around balance and boundaries. So this is Romy. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to give you some astrological dates and intuitive messages to help support you through the next few weeks. So we're going to open up your reading with the energy of the Five of Swords. Now, you know, it's not a surprise that when we get to this point in the year and we've got these dramatic kind of wrapping up conclusion energies coming through in a mutable energy of Sagittarius that can cause this real shape-shifting kind of spinning out, that you might feel a little bit disconnected and out of sorts. And as a result of that, it's very easy to align with those things that haven't been working, those things that feel that they're not in the right order or they haven't come together yet. I need you to remember that December, you know, it's got 31 days, and you know, even as we enter in the first week or so, if you are feeling that you are really off track, things can turn around very, very quickly this month. Okay, there are portals of possibility, and there's this electrically charged astrological energy that's coming in. And it's your choice, it's your mindset that says, where do I want to direct my energy? Am I going to look at those things in my life that make me feel less secure, that make me feel less valuable, less appreciated? Or am I going to turn that energy inwards, and am I going to allow that to deepen and strengthen and clarify the amazing stamina and endurance that I've been able to cultivate and nourish through the entirety of 2021? So it's important that you recognize this. Now, yes, I do feel that you're up against a few challenges through the course of December. I don't think that it's coming as a particular surprise to you. I feel that these are things that are already kind of around you that you've been trying to navigate. And as we come into the 4th with that solar eclipse, new moon and Sagittarius energy at 12 degrees, that wants to kind of release something very profound and very powerful so that you can have the opportunity to direct yourself towards a new path, that you can open up to the possibility of what more is coming in on the horizon. But part of that is the recognition of what isn't working, what is draining you, what is depleting you, whom or what you have been directing yourself towards, and that the truth and the revelation of the aspect of that eclipse might come in and really kind of, in some ways, like close the door for you. You know, you might have that sort of hand of fate coming in and just kind of almost like taking the decision out of your hands. And even if you feel like it's not something that is initially representative as something positive for you, I want you to kind of hold fire until you see the bigger picture and actually where you end up as a result of some of the sliding door moments that are going to be taking place through the course of December. Okay, so it's a reminder that whenever we do get triggered or challenged, we have the opportunity to ground ourselves more deeply into our own process, into our own sense of creativity and how much we value ourselves. Now, Venus, of course, is going to be stationing retrograde on the 19th of the month in Capricorn, your 7th house of relationships. So it is going to be deeply personal this month for you in terms of the people and the connections that you are having an opportunity to reevaluate, perhaps people coming back in from the past, relationship situations coming back around to be discussed and talked about from a much higher perspective. King of Cups coming in here with a beautiful sense of spiritual wisdom, and really wanting you to kind of learn from past mistakes, learn from your behaviors, understand the patterns that have been existing in some of these situations, how toxic they've been, how unhelpful they've been towards you being able to actually achieve things this month, and not from a place of really harsh judgment or self-criticism, but just genuinely looking back at the last 12 months and being able to be really honest and truthful with yourself about saying who or what held me back. And why did I actually allow that to continue? Because if this theme of balance and boundaries is here to support you, which it is, and we're also welcoming Chiron, the wounded healer planet, shifting direct in Aries on the 19th. You know, the last few months of that journeying and that healing transit that you've been through is supposed to have taught you something that you now want to make a significant and permanent change in your life. You know, the choice is always going to come from a place that's either you being rooted in your own sense of self-worth, or to some degree because you're chasing it, so trying to make a choice to get closer to it. And of course, if that is the case, it always means that you're disconnecting from your true energy source. And so Venus, of course, does bring in this almost like spellbound kind of an energy. And so we have to be very aware that even though we are revisiting things and they can on the surface look very favourable, there's always an aspect of waiting until things come direct again, and that's going to be toward the end of February till you really realise what you've signed up to or what has been discussed and negotiated and how it can turn out for you. Now the 10 of Wands comes in and says that actually the emotional burden that I think is either still around you or that you are trying to extricate or move yourself away from is also getting a real sense of focus from Spirit this month. And in some ways, it's not really about the emotion that you're feeling itself, because we will continue to move through that spectrum of emotions, and December is going to be really powerful in the way that it takes us kind of from zero to hero and back down again, like consistently, constantly. But it's more about what you attach to that emotion that can really cause the imbalance for you, okay? So it's all right to feel stress, it's all right to feel angry, it's all right to feel sad. You know, all these emotions are healthy aspects of how we express, you know, our human connection. And yet, you know, if you get stuck in feeling that that sense of frustration or disappointment is kind of really starting to define your experience or define your pathway, then again it's an invitation to really reevaluate those boundaries and to what is the root cause of that and where you can really address that. Now we've got Mars shifting into Sagittarius, Mercury shifting into Capricorn on the 13th of the month, and here we get much more deliberate in terms of the communication, what we have to say and how we want to say it. And Mars is really giving us this beautiful dose of fire energy to actually think bigger and to go further and to actually learn in a way that can really help the actions that we take to feel much more inspired and much more fruitful, if you like. And so you can make really strong, powerful progress. And again, that 10 of Wands is suggesting that, you know, even where you are feeling a little bit under pressure in order to achieve or to get to some kind of end goal, the end is in sight. You know, the world comes through here with a beautiful moment of recognition, completion, and some positive culmination of the efforts that you've put in, even where there has been disappointment and setbacks. So, you know, you are allowed to be tired this month, Cancer. You are not allowed to give up. You have to keep going, because we need you to recognize actually the true investment that you've made and what you've been able to do for yourself in terms of the impact of like opening up new pathways and how that's going to change you. That's really something that we need you to be mindful of. Now, when Venus stations retrograde, Chiron shifts direct, we also have the full moon in Gemini coming in your 12th house at 27 degrees. So that is going to pack a punch. You know, all of that astrological energy can feel quite disruptive, and you have the Wheel of Fortune coming in here. So fate having a hand in terms of some of the situations and events that transpire around that time. But again, with the world and then that higher wisdom coming through with the energy of the King of Cups, for me, it's wanting to elevate you and take you to higher ground. And so there's something about being able to lift you up and out of a situation that I feel really positive for you. Now, of course, the wheel is very cyclical, and it's about recognizing the season that you're in and taking the best of it. The other important date to be aware of is, of course, that we've got solstice coming in this month. So whether you're northern or southern hemisphere, it's an opportunity to recalibrate your energy. The more you can align with nature's cycles, the more in tune and in rhythm you are with how your physical body wants to move, wants to respond, how you need to be nourished, and how that energy impacts and affects you. So it's a really important reminder that sacred time during solstice to kind of really tune in, let go, and make adjustments and changes in your day-to-day routines. Remember, Sagittarius season's that 6th house for you, so how you take care of yourself, your health and well-being, the practices that you put in place will be everything in terms of how you're going to experience this month of December. The wheel, of course, brings in opportunities. Are you ready to say yes? Well, if your back is turned and you feel that burden or that heaviness because of something that you feel duty bound to, that you're not enjoying or you feel is laborious in some ways, then you're going to miss out on something that is truly meant for you. And it can feel challenging to put something down that we feel so kind of intrinsically locked into in some way, you know, whether it's a work situation, a relationship, you're taking care of someone, or you're just embroiled in something that you feel there's no way out. But like I said, you also need to remember that you do always have a choice. And so again, coming back to, are you rooted in a place of self-worth in terms of what you're taking on and how you're showing up? Because we always have that aspect of martyrdom coming through a little bit with the Ten of Wands. And it's not a place to judge yourself. It's just to step back and go like, do I really need to put this much effort and this much energy in? Is there ways that I can actually open up for support to come in? Because absolutely during Capricorn energy in that 7th house, it is a time, Cancer, where you can start to welcome people entering your pathway that can support you personally, professionally, in your social circle. And that maybe it's a time to actually be able to see where you can start to delegate a little bit so that you are in the right position to be able to take opportunities as they're coming through. Now, the world, I love coming in as well when we're looking at Sagittarius energy, because that world view is important. We don't want you too narrow-minded or too focused, because again, you're going to miss the bigger picture of how you can support something, where you are of value, where you might find the answers to some of those really important questions this month. And the Page of Swords is opening up communication, dialogue, negotiations. You have something really important to say in terms of what's coming in and around some of these opportunities. I also feel messages coming in from afar, perhaps very unexpectedly, with people whom you know from the past, or indeed people that are surfacing that, you know, maybe you've been wanting to manifest that for a while. You've been wanting to work with somebody, to connect with somebody. There's something around this energy coming through that I think is going to also be very, very important. Now, we have in December this third and final clash of the Titan energy with Saturn squaring Uranus. Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus moving through the earth sign Taurus. And so remember back to the 14th of June and the 17th of February of this year to try and get an indication of the theme that might be coming to a point of conclusion for you during this time. So on the 24th of December this happens. Now the reverberations of this energy will be felt in the weeks and even the months to come. You may be getting some important news or communication that comes in. Again, that sense of pressure or burden versus something unexpected happening and kind of feeling like, I'm not quite sure how to deal with this, how to handle this would be quite typical. Saturn, of course, is trying to hold back, to restrict, to keep a sense of order and to do things in the traditional conservative way. And Uranus wants to come in and break everything up and is really coming in with that sense of rebelliousness and revolutionary energy. But some of the new things that it's trying to pull you and direct you towards might still feel a little bit shaky and a bit unstable. And so you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place is the energy that I get a little bit around this for you, Cancer, feeling absolutely inextricably pulled to want to allow a change or to embrace something different, but also perhaps it bringing up some fears or some uncertainties, even reminding you of some disappointments or setbacks that you've experienced previously. And so you can get a little bit kind of like a bunny in the headlights, locked momentarily. It's not going to stay, but again, that sort of tidal wave of energy that's coming in from Spirit with the world and the wheel, there's something inevitable about the changing of the energy and the pathway that you're in that I don't really feel that you are supposed to fight. Now that full moon coming in Gemini, of course, in the 12th house is inviting a really deep soulful surrender and a release. And it's perhaps around the idea of something, you know, that utopian vision that you were holding strong to, that you come into this month and figure, okay, it's not quite happened in the way I'd anticipated, and yet there are still so many beautiful reasons that I can find to align with that sense of joy and positivity and optimism. And Gemini, of course, really helps us to come to terms with the duality of situations, of the polarity that only, you know, not only exists within us, but also within the collective energy, and how we communicate about that. You how we find balance, and indeed how we kind of work with the boundaries in terms of how that can impact us. And so your 10 of Cups here suggesting perhaps there's some sort of situation very close to home that's very important to you. It's really close to your heart. And again, we do have a powerful shift and an evolution of that happening in spite of some of the setbacks and the challenges that you have been experiencing in relation to that. Now, of course, Neptune shifting direct in Pisces from the beginning of the month is also going to help you to reimagine some of those hopes and dreams, and I would hope spark some of the creative ideas and the artistry that you can bring back into a situation. And you just need to remember who you are, and not be sort of caught up in anyone else's doom and gloom vibe of saying it can't be done, or it's the wrong time, or you can't make it happen that quickly. Because I have a sense that with that wheel right in the center of your reading, and the way in which you're open to kind of allowing that to happen, even where these triggers are coming through, you are just going to keep going, and you can really surprise the hell out of people this month, is what I want to say to you. Now, your 2 of Pentacles is asking you to be real flexible and adaptable to situations and events as they occur through the course of this month. Okay, you might really be weighing up something that has been presented to you, I feel. Okay, so there might be something that's been offered to you. Again, this could be something that's coming back from the past, either personally, professionally, romantically even. And I suppose because we're dealing with these Venusian themes, I want you to really think about how it impacts your sense of self-esteem and your value, okay? Because that's going to give you a real indication of what the right course of action is going to be for you in that moment. Now, the 2 of Pentacles suggests you might be juggling even, materially, financially, trying to figure out the right investment into something. It may be on your time, any area of your life where you're feeling a little bit stretched and pulled in different directions. Remember, again, we have to ground into our own process. That's where you're really going to be able to deal with some of these pressures and make sure that you don't spin out. I do think, though, when he's looking in this way of kind of almost feeling a little bit uncertain, and there's an unpredictability of that wheel coming in and these astrological energies that are moving through December, you might not have a really powerful sense of clarity until you come in more toward the end of the month and even the early part of January. So I do see you kind of having to, almost being forced by spirit to kind of dig deep and just go into that intuitive sense of trust rather than being giving any evidence initially, okay? In that place, again, if you can really seek to where the lightness and the relief is coming through for you, that's where you're going to be able to make the most headway for things as well, okay? And it's an opportunity to really review and reflect on how Jupiter shifting through Aquarius has supported you in that expansion of your own spiritual journey through the course of 2021 before we move into Pisces on the 29th. Now, the Hermit comes in here because there is an opportunity for you to connect to some really profound sage advice and wisdom through the course of December that I think honestly is going to be quite life-changing for you. You may well come into the path of somebody who's a total game changer for you. You may well be given some direct download from your own guides that absolutely gives you unequivocal truth in terms of what the right direction is for you. Now, we do kind of tap into the energy of Virgo with the Hermit. That might be relevant for some of you by way of a star sign, but also let's talk about the Virgo energy. It's that beautiful sacred earth medicine and the healing energy that comes from having lived the experience, really embodied the experience, and then bringing that practical magic to the forefront to really do something with it that feels meaningful and of service. And you're working through that 6th house that Virgo is the natural ruler of through the course of December. So there's something about the way in which you show up to things and how you're actually deploying the wisdom that you've gained that's going to make a big difference. And that Page of Swords suggests to me you might be wanting to share that through, your voice, through the written word, or something that you have to say. If somebody is feeling like they are withdrawing or it's gone quiet, and this retrograde season can certainly affect relationships, you are going to be going through some deep, powerful reviews during this time. So just be prepared for that. Understand that with that energy of the Hermit, there's a suggestion to me that they are needing to learn and that they're aligning to something that their higher self is really kind of directed. Okay, so in all honesty, you almost want to have some time and space. And now you might feel in a position where you're unclear or unsure about really where they're at or where this is going to lead in some regards. But again, this is where you're going to have to come back into a place of trust within yourself, because they have to go through something. Now, again, this may indeed be you, Cancer, and feeling like you have to kind of pull back or withdraw in order to kind of align with a higher spiritual directive of what comes next for you, because this month is going to pick you up and put you in exactly the right pathway that you are supposed to be, and it's going to bring about a very powerful conclusion, so that you're under no illusions in terms of what this last 12 months was about for you, what you are gaining and understanding, how you are changing, and where you want to be moving forward into next year. Even if you don't know how exactly you're going to get there, there should be a strong feeling that's going to be emerging in that final few days of December about, this is where I know I'm being pulled or I'm being called towards. And that in itself is going to be really deeply grounding and nurturing and strengthening for you. So like I said, there is a evolution of all relationships, including that with the self, because of what's happening through the course of December. So let's take a look and see how these oracle cards just want to join this conversation for you. Seraphim's Gateway, Voice Activation, Angelic Attunement, Divine Support. So this is a new Kyle Gray deck. All the decks are in the description comment section underneath, by the way, if you are curious. So we have this beautiful, radiant starburst of energy coming through here, and the attunement is so important. And you know, this voice activation being strengthened with the energy of the Page of Swords, but I feel like it's almost like fate stepping in with the world and the wheel here to make something happen, for you to recognize something, and actually that you are going to get the divine support, which is so important, because if you feel with that 10 of Wands that you are lacking support, or that you can't find a way out, or you don't know how to release or extricate yourself from something, there does seem to be an important message that's making its way through to you. And again, the Hermit is holding up the light for you. We just need you to be open and flexible and adaptable to how things can turn around. It's going to be one of these months that it's going to be very difficult to get a true read on it until you come out the other side and you can look at it in the context of its entirety. You know, taking a snapshot at any individual point is going to be more problematic to kind of really give you a true read on things. So you have beautiful attuning energies coming in spiritually with that, which is I feel going to help give you a sense of courage and confidence and belief that what you're feeling into on an intuitive level is correct. Okay, so these are the Starcode Astro oracles. Okay, you've got the energy of Pluto coming in here with rebirth. Of course, powerful, deep, transformational energy when we're working with Pluto. Still in Capricorn right now, still in that 7th house energy. So what you're revolutionizing by way of some of those personal connections and also within yourself, you know, is life-changing, really. And some of the turn of events that are going to be happening during this Venus retrograde transit, you're going to learn things about yourself and about your relationships that will be a game changer. You know, they will really allow you to move forward, to release, to put some ghosts to rest, and to kind of heal things at a much, much deeper level than perhaps you'd anticipated. And even though that work can be difficult and it can put us under pressure and it can be uncomfortable, it's also very, very necessary, and it's something that you would look back and actually feel a sense of relief and gratitude that you'd had the opportunity to experience, because, you know, this is no longer a time for kind of avoidance or, you know, disowning those parts of yourself. We have to really fully integrate everything in order to be able to evolve and to allow your relationships to evolve. Okay, so your goddess energy is Oshun, cleanse, protect your energy. Okay, I love all the radiant gold and yellow that's coming through here. And, you know, her hands are on this kind of beautiful stone archway, this portal here. So she feels grounded and secure. And she's actually looking really confident even as she wears the crown here. So a real burst of solar plexus energy. And of course, the reminder with this theme of balance and boundaries that you have to look after your source of energy and make sure that people are not inadvertently drawing and depleting it through the course of December, which is very likely, especially when you're getting that 10 of Wands coming through. So you need to tap into something that, you know, really helps you to know where the best sources of energy are for you, and also make sure that you're regularly calling it back so that you can cleanse and clear. It's going to make a huge difference in terms of you feeling into your own balance. This is a general reading for the month of December, Cancer. I'm just going to invite you to think about a personal question that might not have come up in the main spread. We'll go ahead and pull you some cards around that. Okay. And I'm just going to go clarify this main spread now. So just beginning with that energy of the Five of Swords. What else do we need to know here? Five of Swords. Nine of Wands. I know you're tired of something. Six of Cups. Okay, Devil coming in with the King of Cups here. So I wonder if this is a specific person. We'll unearth that in the extended reading, Six of Swords, or how that might want to play out. So we have the Ace of Wands with the Ten of Wands. Well, you need that spark of energy, don't you? Goodness. Okay. There's the Balance. World coming in with a Nine of Cups. Beautiful. And the Ace of Cups. Four of Wands. Lovely. This is what I mean about these new opportunities coming in. They're so stabilizing, but we definitely need to let something be released. Ten of Coins, Knight of Wands. You have a lot of fire energy coming through here for December. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo may be relevant for some of you. Oh, another wheel. Interesting. About this Hermit, Page of Cups. Okay, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to join me for the extended version of this reading, we'll talk for another 20 minutes or so. It's a way to support my channel and get more insights for the month ahead. You can find the link in the description box in the comment section underneath. If the reading has resonated for you, please do drop me some feedback, a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and be sure to check back in as the month continues to unfold and see how these messages become more resonant for you. I appreciate all your support if you've been with me throughout the entirety of 2021 with the soul stories, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the new year. Have a beautiful holiday season. Bye for now.